Matt 1033, Chapter 8, Section 5, which deals with the graphs of quadratic functions. And basically in this section we're going to talk about two transformations. A transformation from left to right and a transformation from up and down. And then we're going to look at an equation with both transformations. So the first thing you need to understand is that y equals x squared. This is the only graph we're going to deal with in here. This is a quadratic. This is y equals x squared. With y equals x squared, we have the ordered pair 0, 0, because if I put 0 in here, I get 0. 1, 1, because if I put 1 here, I get 1. Negative 1, 1, because if I put negative 1 here, I get 1. Thus, I can draw the graph of y equals x squared. So now what we're going to look at is what happens when we add a number to the x squared. Well, if we add a number to the x squared, all we're going to do is add 2 to all the y's in the ordered pairs. So what we do is we add 2 here, gives us 0, 2. Add 2 here, gives us 1, 3. Add 2 here, it gives us negative 1, 3. Now we have our graph. What happens if we subtract a number from the x squared? Well, we're going to subtract whatever that number is from all the y's in the ordered pair. So when I subtract 3 from here, I get 0, negative 3. When I subtract 3 from here, I get 1, negative 2. When I subtract 3 from here, I get negative 1, negative 2. That's called a vertical transformation or vertical shift. Adding a number to x squared, I add that number to the y's. Subtracting a number from x squared, I subtract that number from the y's. The second shift is called a horizontal shift. Again, here's my y equals x squared. Again, here's my y equals x squared graph with 0, 0, 1, 0, negative 1, 0. Now, the difference in these problems is that the number is going to be subtracted or added directly from x. In the vertical shifts, see how the number is being added or subtracted from x squared? Here it's going to be added or subtracted from x, so the square is on the outside. This is going to call us a shift left or right. The one thing I have to realize, though, is it's the opposite of what it is. So if you take that x minus 3 and put it outside and solve it, and I get x equals 3. See, it's going to be a shift to the right 3. And if it's a shift to the right, that means I'm going to add 3 to all my x's. So if I'm subtracting 3 from the x's, then, as I said before, I'm going to pull this x minus 3 out, set it equals 0, solve. And you can see you're not really subtracting 3 from x, you're adding 3 to x. So what we do is we add 3 here, we get 3, 0. We add 3 here, we get 2, 1. And we add 3 here, and we get 4, 1. So in a horizontal shift, we're going to do the opposite of what's here, and we're going to add or subtract that number to x in the ordered pairs. Same thing here with this one. Here we have f of x equals x plus 1 squared. So we're going to take that x plus 1 out of there, set it equal to 0, and solve. We find out we're going to subtract 1 from the x's. So when I subtract 1 from here, I'm at negative 1, 0. When I subtract 1 from here, I'm at 0, 1. When I subtract 1 from here, I'm at negative 2, 1. Now I got my graph. You got to just remember that if the number is being added or subtracted directly from x squared, it's a vertical shift or up or down. And you do exactly what the sign says. It says add 2 to y's. It says subtract 3 from y's. And a vertical shift is exactly what it means. It's vertical, so it's going on the y-axis. If I come here and I have a number that's being added or subtracted directly from x, that means I'm adjusting x, so it's a horizontal shift. But I'm doing the opposite. Because if I take the factor out and solve, I find out that it's a positive 3. If I take this out, it's a negative 1, but it's going to be added to the x's. There's an example here where they're all both in one equation. Here we have f of x equals x minus 3 in parentheses squared plus 1. So notice the plus 1 is on the outside of the square. So that means we're going to add 1 to all my y's. Notice the 3 is being subtracted directly from x. So I'm going to subtract, so I'm going to add 3 to all my x's. Remember, where I take that x minus 3, set it equal to 0, and solve, and I get a positive 3. So let's look at our ordered pairs. So my ordered pairs for the base is 0, 0, 1, 1, negative 1, 1. Remember, that's how I got these, because that's the 3 ordered pairs that we want to work with x squared. So if I look back up here, I'm going to add 3 to the x's, add 1 to the y's. So if I add 3 to 0, I get 3. Add 1 here, I get 1. So I get the new ordered pair 3, 1. Plot that point. Here I'm going to add 3, get 4. Add 1 here and get 2. So I got 4, 2. Here I'm going to add 3 and get 2. Add 1 here and get 2. I get 2, 2. There's my graph. So make sure you understand this. It's all dealing with the ordered pairs. And if you memorize or learn these 3 ordered pairs and understand the rules for transformation, pretty easy to get the graph. Horizontal, shift, left or right, depending on whether it's addition or subtraction. Vertical shift, up or down, depending on whether it's addition or subtraction.